Happy Wednesday, cheers, and welcome to this week's episode of Trades Lady Happy Hour, live on Instagram. For those of you who are new here, welcome to the series. Trades Lady Happy Hour is a weekly Instagram live that I do and have been doing for almost 2 years now, which is crazy. Each week I meet with another incredible female tradesperson out in the world doing awesome things. And the idea of it is really to shine a light on how many incredible women there are out there in the trades. We generally make up a very, very small minority of the overall tradesperson population, but there's a lot of amazing women who generally don't get a whole lot of attention or credit for everything that they do. And because we want to see that minority grow and increase the numbers, I think it's important to share their stories. I really believe in the saying that if she can see it, she can be it. And I believe that goes for everybody, male and female. But my purpose here is to hopefully share the stories of these incredible women, shine a light on all of their amazingness, and also hopefully inspire other young women to pursue whatever they desire, even if it is something like in the automotive trades, even when they are a minority. So hopefully this is inspiring some folks out there. If you are new to this and you haven't seen them before, make sure you go check out my Instagram TV tab on my profile. There you will find about 90 other episodes of incredible women that I've interviewed in the past. So definitely go check those out. I definitely want to thank my sponsor and partner on this program. They are helping allow it to continue and hopefully grow in the near future. So you'll see these Trades Lady Happy Hours in more places than just on Instagram. So a big thank you to Drive Time. They've really been showing their commitment for bringing more women into the trades and their support of women in the trades by being a partner with me on this. So big thank you to them. And big thank you for tonight's guest. I'm really excited this week to be joined by Becca Welding, otherwise known as Becca Nadeau, I believe. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her last name. I'm sure I just mangled it, and she will correct me once she gets on. But she is a welder and has an interesting story of how she kind of got involved in her career and what she's up to and how she kind of got to where she is now. So I'm excited to meet her and hear more about her journey and her experiences. So Becca, I have sent you an invite, so hopefully, and there you are.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Welcome, cheers.
Thanks.
Thanks for agreeing to join me on this.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So introduce yourself. Well, first of all, did I pronounce your last name totally wrong?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. How do we pronounce it? Correct me.
Nadeau.
Nadeau. Okay.
Yeah, I've never heard Nadeau or what. That's a new one.
Well, I might have it spelled wrong too, because that might be why I pronounced it the way I did. How is it spelled?
Nadeau.
Oh, yeah. So in my spelling, I left out the U because I'm an idiot, and that makes way more sense. I'm like, Nadia? I don't know. Well, my apologies for totally mangling your name, and thank you for
a lifelong thing, so.
I'm sure I get mine mispronounced all the time as well. But I always say, I've been called worse, so it's all good.
Yep.
So introduce yourself to everybody. I gave a little brief introduction, but tell the fine folks at home who you are and what you do, where you're calling in from.
I'm Becca. Hello. I go by Bex. I live in Midland, Michigan, but I'm from Maine, so I'm a Mainer, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm 30, but I just got into welding 3 years ago. So I actually just got certified 3 years ago yesterday.
Nice. Congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Yeah, thanks. So welding was just different. I never pictured myself doing that and decided to jump for it. And now I work at Uphill Manufacturing here in Midland. And we make
What's the name of it?
Uphill Manufacturing.
Okay.
We
Cool.
make Jeep bumpers and John Deere skid steer quick attachments and roof
Nice.
racks and stuff like that. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. I want to find out more about what you're doing currently, but I want to go back a little bit. Uh, what were you doing before you got into welding, and how did this departure happen? How did this come about?
I mean, I've always done customer service stuff. I'd never done anything hands-on, or manual labor, whatever. Um, and so I was working at Family Dollar. I was managing Family Dollar. You might hear my cat. She's
That's okay.
interested in things.
Of course.
But I was working at Family Dollar, and I had a boyfriend, and he had a son, so I was a stepmom, and I just wasn't happy, you know. And I got home after work one day, and we were watching Shameless, and Debbie starts welding, and I was like, "That's really cool, you know. I kind of want to try that." And he was like, "No," and I was like, "Okay, whatever." So I think he expected me to just drop it, but I applied, and once the paperwork started coming in, he got really upset, and
Really?
yeah, he was very controlling and things like that. So I think he wanted to keep me small so that I would, you know, not want anything greater. But so I left him and I went to welding school, and and I
I love
loved
this.
it. Yeah, yeah. So I finally, but I mean, if I didn't like it, I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went. But every day I was like, what if I don't like this? What if I'm only doing this because he said I couldn't?
Right.
And but I love it. And I used to get written up all the time in my customer service jobs because I didn't smile enough. Like, I was working at a laundromat tanning salon one time, and I was mopping. And it was like 8 p.m. after a muddy day, you know, and I was mopping, and these two women come in and they were like, "You look like you hate your job." And I was like, I've had a long day and I'm mopping, you know? And so they called my manager, and I got written up and fired because I didn't smile enough. And with welding, I have a hood on, you know, like nobody sees my so. And if guys are ever like, wow, you should smile more, I'm allowed to, you know, talk back a little bit more than I would if I were working in a laundromat. So
I, I love it. Also, you haven't stopped smiling for a second since
I
we've started this. So I feel like
welding, man.
yeah, you're smiling a whole lot more. What an amazing story. I love this. I love that Shameless is what got you interested
Yeah,
in welding to begin with.
yeah. Thanks, Debbie.
I know, right? Who knew? Who knew that Shameless would be a part of inspiring tradeswomen? Um, what was it about it that looked cool to you that drew you to it?
It was just different, and I was tired of like having to. I'm a. I have. I'm a depressed person. I have this thing, and it's called dysthymia depression. And unlike major depression, it's not wavy. It's just constant. So people with dysthymia, like we don't smile a lot, and we don't ever feel like we get enough sleep. So we're just like depressed people in general. And so I'm sorry, I forgot the question. My anxiety.
What was it about welding that excited you and got you jazzed from watching Shameless? But keep going down whatever path you're going on, because I appreciate you being willing to share your mental health and depression, and I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with and we generally don't talk about. So I appreciate your
Well, I
openness
think
about
that
that.
being in customer service and having to deal with people face to face all the time is, and pretend that you're happy because, you know, people want to have a good experience. And for me to just be kind of like a, you know, life is whatever type of person, to have to pretend every single day, it was just exhausting.
Yeah.
But doing welding, like even the first day, I got lost. I was like an hour and a half late to class, and I walk in and they're like, and I'm like, hi, I'm really sorry, I got lost. And so that's how that, you know, worked out. My teacher, I don't think he thought I was going to make it, but I showed up early every single day. After that, I stayed late. I didn't go to lunch. And then they had like a pipe course. We went to school Monday through Thursday. And then we had a pipe course Friday and Saturday for 11 hours. So I signed up for that. It was through Chimbro. And it was so much fun, and I just wanted to do it every single day. I actually had something I was looking forward to doing. So I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I still love it just as much. So I don't necessarily know what it was about it, but it's working and I'm going to keep
Yeah,
with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's interesting because I've heard a number of specifically welders who have said that welding kind of, saved their life in a way, that it was this thing that kind of pulled them out of a dark place. And not, I don't know that any of them really put their finger on what it is exactly about it, but there's something about welding that is magical from
Yeah.
from everything. I mean, I do a little bit of it and I love it when I do it. I'm not very good at it. I will freely admit that. But the fact that I hear that so often, there's something just really magical about it, and I'm so stoked that you found it. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. It's weird to think about too, like why I love it so much, but it's just me. Like I'm not necessarily, I'm not working with other people, so maybe it's that I'm working by myself, or I mean, it's just me and a flame. So, and then there's also like my dad was a firefighter and my mom was a seamstress, so
Oh.
maybe that had something to do with it. They say that welding is sewing with fire, so I don't know if like both of that mixed together maybe had something to do with it, but it's working out.
I like that. That works out well, though. If you're willing to share, you mentioned having a partner who was, kind of wanted to keep you small and was
Hmm.
controlling, and you found the way to get out of that while dealing with depression. And I know that you are probably 100% certainty. I can say that you are not alone in having been in that situation.
Hmm.
How how did you get yourself out of that? Was it just like you hit your breaking point and you were like, that's it, I'm done with this. I'm going to go pursue what I want to pursue? Or how did you get yourself out of that position?
Um, I mean, I had tried for a long time, and I think I had left like, I don't know, like 12 times or something before I actually had left. But I didn't want his stepson to see what was happening, And so like he would grab my hair when I would leave. So instead of me leaving, I considered cutting my hair. So that's the type of mentality I had for years and years and years. But I I I just wanted to do something, and I thought welding could benefit the family, like we could have more money, we could have more options and opportunities, and maybe we could move and whatever. But he didn't look at any of that. And so it was that I didn't want his son to see that, but also I didn't want to be minimized, and I didn't want to be put in this box and not be able to grow. I was only 27 at the time, 26, 27, and I was like, this can't be it. Like there has to be more, and thankfully there was. So it was really hard though. I mean, I considered going back even after I had left, but for whatever reason, every single day it was like I got a little bit stronger, and I stayed gone this time. So
I love it. Cheers to you for
yeah,
that. Congratulations.
yeah,
I
thank you.
I know from personal experience that it's not always easy.
Yeah,
In fact, it's never easy. But
no,
I applaud you for finding that in you, wherever and how deep you had to dig for it to find
yeah.
it, but to do something for you. So that's phenomenal. So where did you wind up going to school? What and how did you find a place? How did you pick? Like you had this idea, he didn't want you to do it. You said, "Screw you, I'm doing it anyway."
Yeah.
What were the what were the next steps?
So I have this friend, one of my best friends, Abby. She is a nurse, and she went to Kennebec Valley Community College in Maine. And she's like, they have a welding program. And I was like, cool, okay. So she's like, go ahead and apply. She helped me out so much because I was just winging it on this possibility that, life could be more. And like, what if I love this and what if I'm okay at it? And so anytime I had any issues, she was there to support me and get me through it. And she helped me with all the paperwork. She helped me do scholarships. I got one scholarship, I think, because my mom worked at Dexter Shoe. And I don't know if I was the only one to apply or not, but I got it. And I was so excited.
I love it. How long
Yeah.
of a program was it?
Oh, it's just a year program. But
Okay, nice.
yeah. So I would have liked it a little bit more. I'm actually considering going back and learning maybe construction management or something
Oh,
along those lines.
nice.
Yeah, but I think I always want to learn more. I don't, and especially with welding, there's so many things. I feel like I will never know everything about welding, you know,
Yeah.
and there's always going to be room for growth. And that's what I think I like, is that I can always expand myself. I'll never be
Yeah.
put into like this little box again. So,
I love it.
mm-hmm.
I love it. So it was a year-long program, and you said it was like a
Mm-hmm.
community college style,
It was,
or
yeah,
okay, and that was in Maine.
yeah, yeah, Fairfield, Maine. Brian Jonah was my teacher. He welded for NASCAR and he welded for
Oh,
Jim
nice.
Bro. And I thought he
Okay.
was older when I started, but he was 2 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So that was interesting, but he was cool. He's a great teacher.
Awesome.
Hmm.
How did you wind up where you're at now, both state-wise and like you? People don't leave Maine. Like Maine is kind of one of those places where like it's like the place you stay.
I always I always wanted to leave Maine, and my older sister Vicky said that I was going to be the one that traveled and did stuff, and had like a cool job and wasn't held back by stuff. And so I just looked at different opportunities, and I wanted to get out of Maine. So I have a friend that lives out here, and gave it a shot. And I didn't have any like leads when I first came out here, welding wise. So I took a remodeling job. It was like a week-long remodeling job, and that was fun because I got to learn other stuff. And then I did roofing for the rest of the summer,
Oh, wow.
and I was dying to get back into welding, and roofing was coming to a close because it was 10 degrees outside. And and you can't, yeah, I don't want to be up on a roof in 10 degrees. So so I put this ad out on Facebook, and it's Ask Midland. It's like our Facebook group or whatever for the town. And I said, I'm looking for any type of welding work, like overnights, whatever. I don't even care. Like I'll sweep, to get my foot in the door. I don't even care. So I had tons of people leave recommendations and places to work and stuff, but they were all so far away from where I was. So
Mm.
this guy randomly messaged me like a week later, and I had sort of forgotten about it because I was doing like inside remodeling stuff. And he's like, hey, I got some grinding work. And I was like, okay, well, I'll totally take that. Like, I at least get to be back in the shop. I get to smell metal again, And so I went in, and he had a stockpile of bumpers that needed to just be like cleaned up with a wire wheel and ground down and, prettied up. And so I did that, and then I shipped them, and it was supposed to be like a weekend thing, but I showed up every single day. So then I worked there for a year. I started as a grinder, and then he let me tack things, and then he let me do welds that would never be seen, because I wasn't the greatest when I first started. And
Sure, none of us are.
yeah, well, I learned a lot, and eventually I got consistent enough and good enough, and I was doing all the welding and then the shipping and stuff. And there were times he doesn't even, show up. And I don't mind it because I kind of like working by myself. I like it when he does show up. I love it.
So it started out from a Facebook ad, and now here you are still working for the same company, but doing way
Yeah.
more than you started. That's amazing.
Yeah, it just kind of like fell in my lap. Well, I did, like, I put up the post, but
Yeah,
like
totally. I mean, you worked
happened.
for it. You've put in the
Yeah,
effort.
yeah.
100% you put in the effort, but I absolutely love how this journey has kind of unfolded for you, and it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. And kudos to him for taking you on kind of fresh out of school and without a ton of experience, and
Yeah,
really
yeah.
training you up and letting you grow.
Yeah, because when I graduated, so I had like 13 job offers, and I wasn't confident in myself, I guess, still at that point. We had Westmore come in, and they do like stainless tanks, and it was
Okay.
TIG, and I had never TIGged in school. And he wanted all the students to TIG, and I wasn't going to do it. And Brian Jonah was like, go. So he made me do it, and that guy was like best in the class. And I thought he was just bullshitting me, like, so he gives me a card, and it's like 2 weeks before graduation, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? And Brian's like, Becca, what about all those cards you were given, And I'm just like, I don't. And he's like, they were serious, And I was like, I didn't. So but I picked a job that I had a connection with. My roommate's husband worked there, actually, so I didn't have to like drive to work every single day. I had a ride every single day. I had somebody to help me, and I I think I was nervous because I had no real blue collar experience or anything like manual labor, working around other people going in as a girl.
Yeah.
So I felt like I needed somebody on my side going into it.
Fair.
And it was really, really, really beneficial. It was an HVAC job. I was told there was going to be a lot more welding than there was, but there wasn't. But I still learned a lot, and I do like HVAC. But it helped having somebody like a connection, because me just going in, they wanted me to just pookie and seal all the lines, and that was it. And, just go paint the lines.
Right.
But I wanted to run my own lines and do more stuff. So thankfully, working with Jeff, he was like, Becca, you get this room, go put up these lines, go finish this room out. So I got to take on way more responsibility than I think if I had not had any connections. So I got to,
you had an advocate in there.
yeah. And yeah. There was people that did not like that I was driving the truck as opposed to riding with somebody else and things like that. So it was absolutely beneficial that I had him.
Do you feel like it was because you were a woman, or because you were inexperienced, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both, but I think even I have friends that are experienced and talented. I have this friend, best friend, Rachel. She's phenomenal. And people doubt her all the time, and they act like she doesn't know what she's talking about. And she knows way more than they think she knows. And she's just like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not that person. I'm like, I'm not that person. And maybe that's why I couldn't do customer service either.
I don't know, sometimes it's fun to be underestimated, because then you get to like surprise them on the flip side when, they realize that they've underestimated you. Yeah. But I totally feel you. I'm kind of more like you too. I'm like, yeah, no, not okay with that.
Yeah.
I love it. Somebody asked, and I want to make sure, because I've got some questions coming in, and I want to make sure that I get to those too. And for anybody who's watching, if you have questions, I'm not going to see them if they're in the comments mostly, so make syou put it in the little question mark box down at the bottom. But we've got a question about your college experience. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like? And it sounds like you had a really great teacher who taught you a whole lot, but can you talk a little bit more about what that experience was like for you?
So I had to take, I hadn't been to school in 10 years, so I was terrified, and I'm not the greatest with math. So I downloaded the Khan Academy before, you have to take your Accuplacer. So I studied my little butt off, and I passed everything. I was so excited. But you have to take math, English, blueprinting, and CCER, which is like, it's some safety thing, but every place I've gone to, I'm like, oh, here's my NCCER card, and they're like, what?
Don't you love that? I feel like there's a lot of stuff like that on the mechanic side. I'm like, I have all my safety certs, and they're like,
yeah, I did a lot of homework for that. Like,
I know. You did it for you, though. You did it for you.
Right. I did learn a lot. Yeah. Yes. So, but we also OSHA 30. However, it was OSHA 30 general. So when I got my job, I had to take OSHA 30 construction. Okay. And it's basically the same exact thing. And, I was like, isn't this good enough? And they were like, no. So make sure you ask which OSHA course you're taking, so that you don't have to take 60 hours instead of 30. And then there was blueprinting, welding class, where we like talked about welding and what does what and why things do what, and then we had lab, so we actually had we were welding in the lab in our booths. But there was like 14 or 15 of us, one teacher, except for math and English were taught by different teachers, so I was with the same people all day long.
Oh wow. So a small group.
Yeah, it was nice though.
How were the other students in your program with you? Were they same age as you, younger, older?
Mix. Because I was 27, there were people younger than me, there were people way older than me, like 45 and wow, down to like 18. So I mean, it was a huge mix. There was Jean, a woman in my class, she was older than me, and then Jasmine is younger than me, so there were the three of us.
So you had a couple of girls in there too.
Guys,
that's
younger
awesome.
Guys.
Nice.
Yes, yeah, it was so nice. Yeah,
that's kind of surprising in such a small class size to have 3 women. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
And in Maine, you know,
Yeah.
like I don't, it's Fairfield, Maine. And I was like, there's more of us.
That's really
So it was
awesome
like
though,
having,
especially.
it
Go
was
ahead.
like having
Sorry.
friends going in, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like right
Yeah.
right off the bat, seeing and meeting other women. So many women like go most of their career without meeting another female, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Right.
are they still with it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Jean works for DOT, I think, and Jasmine's making bank doing TIG trailers. So,
Nice. That's
yeah.
awesome. I love it. Very cool. How were the guys? How did they receive you and the other girls?
Um, they
Ladies,
were
I should
okay.
say.
I don't think anyone like disliked us being there. There was one guy, his name was
Nice.
Dave. He got like loud one day and yelled at me, and I was like, dude, like I'm not your wife and I'm not your daughter. Like you don't talk to me like that. So that was a little crap show. But other than that, and then there was like because I had never welded before, and Jean had never welded before, and neither had Jasmine. And then
Wow.
there were some of the guys that had never even welded before. And then there were some people who had taken high school classes or whose dads had welded before, so they had previous experience. Um, one guy was called like the genius, and but he wasn't approachable. He wasn't helpful.
Mhm.
He wasn't, supportive to the other people. He was focused on himself. But
Interesting.
um, yeah, so he had a plan when he went in there, and he was just determined and brushing up on his skills and getting that certification and bouncing. Um, but Smiley, Chris Beeman, he's actually a welding instructor now at Madison back in Maine, and he was hilarious and friendly and joked around with us and helped us out when we needed it and stuff like that. But I do remember one day, and this still bugs
Uh-oh.
me. We were practicing for our test. So it was like 3/8 plate with a backing strip and stuff. And we were doing stick welding, vertical. So I went up and I was like, it needed a little bit more before I put
Okay.
the cap on. And I was like, it's not quite there. So I went up to Jeff, and Jeff knows his shit. Sorry. And
You're fine.
he, um, so I was like, should I do a 3/32 rod? Because I only need a little bit. I don't need a lot. I don't think I need an eighth. And he was like, nah, you can do an eighth. It'll be fine. And I was like, Jeff, are you sure it's not going to be too much? And he's like, no, you'll be fine. So I listened to Jeff because Jeff is experienced, and Jeff led me wrong. And it was too much. So I went to the teacher and I was like, what gives? And he's like, don't listen to Jeff. Well, I wish I would have known.
Was that a don't listen to Jeff because he didn't approve of Jeff's ways, or was that don't listen to Jeff as in like you should trust your own gut?
Both. Yeah. Yeah. I knew. But he knew that I doubted myself over and over and over, because he'd say, are you going to bend that? And I'd say, no, not yet. I don't think I'm ready. I think it's going to fail. And he's like, are you going to bend that one and that one and that? I was like, no, I'm not ready yet. So finally one day he's like, you're bending it no matter what. And I was like, okay. So I bent it and it was a pass. And he's like, you would have passed weeks ago. And I was like, well, I was nervous.
Yeah. I love that though. It's so interesting. I feel like I see that a lot with a lot of the ladies that I see in the trades, where it's like this perfectionism, right? Like we push ourselves
Mhm.
so much harder, and it's a double-edged sword, because sometimes like, okay, I need to have confidence in myself, and at the same time, that's kind of what pushes us to be amazing, is that we're really hard on ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have really high expectations of ourselves, but man, we all learn somewhere, we all start somewhere. And so,
Yeah. So what all types of welding did you learn in school? Was it all of the above? Did you do everything?
well, I tried TIG towards the very end
Yeah.
because I had done it when Westmore came in, and that was fun. But I was stick and flux certified, and then we did MIG. Um, and it was towards like the second semester of school. He's going to like wherever you go. I mean, they should do this. Ask you where you want to go and what you want to do, and then you can focus on that. So if you only want to
Okay.
do aluminum, why are you going to spend your time doing steel, and
Sure.
and different processes? If you want to be a stick pipe welder, why are you going to learn something else, or why are you going to focus on that when you could take the time to perfect the other one? So that was really nice, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I just kind of bounced around and tried to get a little bit more experience in everything. But because I want to learn it all, I don't want to just be, Becca the MIG welder or Becca the TIG welder. I want to be able to do
Right.
different things because I get bored really easily too. So I need different things to work on and switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. Are you mostly doing MIG now on the bumpers, or are you doing stick, or are you getting into
We
TIG now
do
at all?
MIG.
Okay.
We, well, I just got, and we do MIG. We have a Miller-Matic 251, and I love it. It's smooth, it's great, it's 15 years old and solid. And then I just got a new Everlast 220, Lightning 225, and so it's new and does everything. It does like aluminum, TIG. I mean, it does all the processes, it does all the different metals, but it's so complicated, and I really need to like sit there and just study the manual like over and over. Just I feel ignorant about a lot of stuff because I don't even know what the options mean. So it's super confusing. But
I
I
think
just
you're
need to spend
probably
more time
not.
with research.
I think you're probably not alone in that. I think that one of the reasons why I like a lot of the Miller machines is that they're like you
It's
just kind
so
of,
you have two
it's
knobs.
so
That's
easy.
all.
Yes.
So easy, and we drew lines on them, so it's like on 1/8 inch you put it on like setting 1 or 2,
Right?
which isn't great though, because I went to an interview somewhere else for aluminum or whatever in Standish, and I had to stop in at the shop and write down the settings because I was like, I'm gonna get there and be like, can you put that on setting 1 please? They're gonna be like, what?
Although, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
You're doing the same kind of stuff every day, right? You're
This,
mostly in a
yes.
production shop, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we have 12 different bumpers, and then we have the roof rack, but it's all the same settings. It's the same blueprints. There's no variations. And so, you do it for a year, and it's like, wow, okay. Then you go try something else, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
do you have a desire to go do it? Not that I want to get you in trouble with your current employer, but do you have a desire to do other types of welding, other types of work, or do you see yourself staying here for a while?
I really, this is probably my favorite job. I can listen to the music I want to listen to. I mean, we don't really talk. We both work. If I do want to go talk and waste 10 minutes, I'll go talk about something or ask him a question about something I know that he'll give me a little lecture on. So there's so much flexibility. If I want to work nights, I go in at nights. If I want,
Nice.
I go in and work 8 hours. It doesn't matter what time.
Nice.
So I love it, and he teaches me so much, and he's understanding, and he doesn't laugh at me, and maybe behind my back, but like, I don't know. But so he's so great, and I still feel like I have a lot to learn. Honestly, before we got the Everlast, I was like, I'm not learning anything new at this point. But once we got the Everlast, and he is more experienced in TIG welding and all
Okay.
these other types of welding, so I'm using his knowledge, and he's helping me run my Everlast and learn how to do things and
Nice.
focus on other stuff. But he does some custom stuff too. So we have like a dock that we have to go fix and things like that. And then I've also started doing my own stuff on the side, which is great because it's more, variation and different stuff and problem solving and a little engineering and figuring things out. But he also has like a CNC table, a huge
Nice.
10x8 table. And he has all these tools. I don't have a garage. I don't have a shed or anything. So I use the space as mine also. Like he lets me go and use it whenever I want,
Oh, wow.
which is great. Yeah. So it's not
That's
only
amazing.
a job, but I'm also using it for my side business and for, growing my knowledge bank and things too. So it's maybe, I mean, I'd like to do my own stuff all the time, but I'm not there yet.
I mean, it sounds like you're in a absolutely ideal situation. You're still learning. You get to do stuff on your own. You have flexible hours. Like, I feel like a lot of people would kind of kill for that situation.
I know. Yeah. I don't want to take it for granted. I'm definitely lucky. So, and I
No.
tell them that all the time. I'm like, man, I love working here.
I love that it all came from a Facebook ad.
Man, I
See,
don't.
you just never know where opportunities are going to come
Yeah,
from. You just never
yeah,
know.
yeah. I stutter when I speak sometimes, but I can write pretty well. So,
I haven't heard you stutter at all. And also, I have not seen you stop smiling for a second during this whole interview. And like, it makes me so happy to see, like, hearing what you said at the beginning of this interview about not smiling. Like, you are clearly
I
on
know
the
it's
right
weird,
path.
right? Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. That is
Yeah.
so, so cool to see. So what kind of stuff are you doing on your own? What's your side stuff that you're doing?
I have my roofing boss uses me for my metal skills, and
Okay.
he is a gym freak, and he has a massive gym in his 3 bay garage. And he, instead of him having to buy 2 different machines, he'd rather like customize a little piece so that he
Okay.
can have two whatever's on one machine as
Smart.
opposed to having 2 machines. So we've been doing a lot of that, and trays. He needed some dumbbell trays, and I got to do this really big dome, this aluminum dome, back while I was in Maine. Actually, that was my favorite project, though.
Wow.
Um, it's a it's a floating. Okay, so in Maine, there's a lot of lands, like waterfront land that you can buy,
Okay.
but you can't build on. So it's
Oh,
like, what's the point? It's beautiful property, but you can't.
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Interesting.
But you can put a wharf out, and you can put this dome out there, and then you don't have to, you don't get in trouble, and you don't really have to
So it's
pay
like a
any
dome that
taxes.
you live in?
Yeah, it's a livable dome. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
So you built an aluminum livable dome on a wharf.
yeah.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeff Cropley designed it all and came up with everything, and took years doing all of. He's brilliant. Um, and then I got to work on it, and it was awesome, and it was so much fun.
That is so incredible.
Yeah.
I love how varied your experience is in just the few years that you've been doing. You said 3 years that you've been doing
Hmm.
this. What an incredible journey you've been on, and such a diverse like set of experiences and opportunities. And are you still doing the roofing too? Or are you just
No,
working with
but
your former boss?
I just work with him,
Okay.
but I might do a Saturday here and there. I
Okay.
honestly miss it.
That's
Yeah.
fair. That's
Yeah.
allowed.
It was fun. It's nice. You get to stand out in the sun. You get a great workout. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Okay, so this is something I wanna ask you about, because you, especially considering that you say that you didn't really do great at customer service or didn't enjoy that, and yet you, so much of your experiences that you're sharing with all of this different diversity of projects you're working on, like what I'm hearing is that you've kept in great touch with everybody who you've kind of come into contact with, you've networked with, you've continued to keep those relationships and are getting opportunities out of that. Um, what's the secret to that? What's the
I
mastery
don't
in that?
know. I don't know. I find these people, and I'm like, you don't think I'm annoying? Like this, we're friends?
So is that like, do you just keep in touch with them? Because I feel like a lot of women struggle, or people in general, I shouldn't even specify gender. A lot of people struggle with that. Like they meet people all the time, they have opportunities all the time, but they never follow through on them or stay in touch with folks and create those opportunities for themselves. But you're like
Yeah.
creating opportunities everywhere you go.
I feel like you have to be dedicated about it, and if you like, if I obviously when I was roofing, I needed to go and give it to my everything, because I messaged this guy randomly, and I was like, I really want to learn to roof. And he's like, show up on Monday. So I showed up on Monday at this address. And they were like, why do you want a roof? And I was like, I don't like heights. And they were like, what? And I was like, I don't want to be scared anymore.
I freaking love you.
So that's
Why
how
are
I got
you
into
welding? Because
roofing.
someone told me I couldn't. Why do you roof? Because I'm afraid of heights. You're fantastic.
I got to find joy where I can, okay? But yeah, so I needed to show him that I was as tough as these guys who just stood around and did nothing. So I gave it my all, and I loved it, and I had so much fun, and I was like, same time tomorrow? And he's like, yeah. So I just showed up every single day, and he's like, all right, you get paid on Friday. And I was like, cool. And then he's like, all right, this is the new address. And then I just showed, and by the end of the year, Jose quit. I don't know why. He didn't like heights, but he didn't want to change that. So he was the ground guy, okay? And then somebody else's dog took off one day and didn't come back or something, and then he didn't come back. So we didn't, and then his brother worked for him, and he got in a fight one day and never came back either. So it was just his best friend Gene and my boss Jason and me at the end of the season. So, I mean, I stuck it out. And then come spring, he knew I had another job, and he's like, do you wanna come back? And I was like, I want $4 more an hour. And he's like, well, I was gonna do that anyway. And I was like, okay. I was like, but I'll only do it like Saturdays or something, you know, like I'm kind of busy right now, but I might do it. I loved roofing. They're fun. Blue collar guys are fun. There's no real drama. Like, it's just silly.
Oh my God, you're cracking me up. I absolutely love this. I love your perseverance and your grit, and for as much as like the beginning of your story kind of started out of like this kind of depressed place and not believing in yourself and not like standing up for yourself to where you're at now, where you're like, I want more money and I'm just gonna keep showing up. And
yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. What a phenomenal transformation. How has your family and friends that you've known kind of throughout this journey, how they responded to all of this?
well,
Seeing the change.
I told my mom I wanted to go to welding. I was like, I applied to school, and she's like, oh, for what? And I said welding, and she laughed at me. So that was cool. And then I was studying for the AccuPlacer, and we were having dinner at my mom's or something, and my older brother was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I gotta study math for the AccuPlacer for college. And he's like, what are you going for? And I was like, welding. And this jerk, I love him, but he's a jerk. He laughed so hard he started crying. And I got up from the table and I went outside and I got my car and I left. And my younger brother called me. He's like, where did you go? And I was like, I just told Steven I was going to school for welding, and he laughed so hard he cried. And he's like, well, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. So my younger brother was always super supportive. And towards the middle of it, my older brother, my mom came around, but I hadn't seen my mom in a couple of months, I think, and then I saw her up at Family Dollar, the one that I used to work at, and I stopped in one day, and I see her, and I was like, hi, and she's like, you're filthy. I was like, I just got out of class, like, I'm dirty.
It's what happens.
Yeah. She's 76. She actually adopted us. So we were in the kitchen, and the boys were in the garage with my dad, and that's how it was. And so I don't think she ever pictured me to be in a garage or a shop or greased up or anything, you know.
Has she come around?
Yeah. She thinks it's cool. I was in a poster, and I was on a commercial and something else, the handbook or something. Well, like, my uncle opened a magazine and there was a picture of me, some ad. And he called my mom. Do you know, then everyone calls me Becky in the family. Do you know Becky's in the magazine? She's on a poster. So my mom cut it out and put it in a little picture frame, and she's got it up on the wall now. And yeah,
I love that.
She put it on her fridge for a little while, and for the first time in my life, I made it on my mom's fridge. It was pretty exciting.
Oh,
yeah,
yay! And for doing something that you love and that you're like super excited about. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think she was surprised that I actually like went through with it, but so was I.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you could do, like, or something that you like would love to do when it comes to welding or metalwork, or like the next thing you want to learn, do you have any idea what that is?
I really want to get into gates. I just think they're pretty. They can be extremely like ornamental and crazy custom and sweet designs, and I really want to get into that. So I think I've got to make like another Facebook post asking if anybody at
there you go.
Needs to
I mean, it's been successful for you so far doing the Facebook.
I know. I'm just gonna try it again.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? That is fantastic. Are you getting to do any of like the CNC machine stuff with your current boss as well?
Yeah, whatever, like if I ever wanted to make anything, I just have to import it and upload it and do whatever. Um, and I love the guys at Midland Steel. I just call in my order, they come and drop it off.
Nice.
So that's always fun, but it can be confusing. I feel like when I was younger, I was so smart with technology and I was like ahead of the game and I was coding on MySpace and like
Oh, wow.
creating my own page and stuff, you know? And nowadays I'm like I just feel behind. So I feel like I have to spend extra
I know
time
that
learning how
feeling.
things work. Yeah. But Michigan's cool. I feel like it has way more opportunities than Maine did because Maine had like adult education classes, but it was like computers and like resumes and
Okay.
nursing and things like that. But out here in Bay City, they have like a CNC course, they have
Oh,
welding courses, they have TIG courses. So I think I'm going to take a TIG course and a CNC course just so I can get more hands-on experience and doing different projects and things like that. They're extremely affordable. It's way
nice.
cheaper than going back to school full time. Um, and I would recommend it actually for anybody like considering going to school but weary of spending all that money or committing to like a year.
Yeah.
If you can't find somebody local to like teach you how to weld or somebody in the family or a friend of the family or something like that just to try it out and see if you like it, then I would take like a little intro course or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great recommendation. Is it like at community college type things where you're taking individual classes, or is it through AWS or?
No, it's just through like I think it's Bay City, like adult education or something like that.
Okay.
So like where one would go to get their GED or something, they
Okay.
also have, and I'm not looking to get certified or
You're just
get
taking
a
it to
job
learn.
out of this. Yeah, exactly. I just want more experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So more TIG welding, more CNC. Um, is it just you and your boss at the bumper place?
Yeah. If you look at the website, it says one man shop, and I'm trying to get him to change it to one man and one woman shop. But he
Yeah.
hasn't. Yeah. It's about time he made the switch, I think.
Absolutely. How long are you? 3 years?
Yeah. Wasn't it a while?
Yeah,
Bless
totally.
him. Yeah.
Are you involved in all parts of the process now? You're cutting and building and doing the whole thing?
Yep. Yeah, he does it in batches
Okay.
as opposed to doing it as orders come in. That just gets too confusing. So like he'll take orders for 2 weeks and then we'll order the material, we'll either pick it up or they'll drop it off. And then we cut it and then we clean it and then we the sheets we cut those and then he made this like huge tumbler. It's a little bit dangerous, but we're safe around it. We wear our glasses. And we just load all the CNC stuff in there and then we tumble it. It's so loud, but we tumble it for like 15 minutes and knocks all the slag off and everything. And
Oh,
then we
wow.
take them out. So and then we put it together, tack it, and then we weld it all out. Then we clean them all, and then we ship them all. So he does it in batches. But when I
Okay.
first started, it was just tacking and grinding and shipping, and now I get to do it all. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
I love it. All right. Um, what else have we not covered? Do you have any other areas that I'm forgetting to ask you about as far as parts of your journey and your story?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No, I
Are
don't know.
you let's see. What was I going to ask you? There was questions I had earlier, and of course I've forgotten them because you've been like just cracking me up this whole time. Um, so in your little side business that you're doing,
Hmm.
are you hoping ultimately that that's going to be like a full business that you're going to do all the time?
Well, the thing about me is I don't want to work my life away. Because of my mental health issues, I need a decent work-life balance. So I would prefer to be completely satisfied in the work that I do and be able to take time off. Like when I worked at the HVAC job at Twin Cities Sheet Metal in Maine, I would work like 70-hour weeks, but I would take a week off every 2 months
Okay.
and they were cool with that because I still worked more than the guys that were leaving early every single day and leaving at lunch. And even though I take a week off every 2 weeks, they'd be like, "Oh, you're taking more time off." Shut up, Jim. Like, I still work more than you, you know? And so that's what I need. And with Nate, I'm able to do that. And if I have my own business, I would be able to do that and schedule things and take time off for family or whatever, you know? My mom lives back in Maine, and I didn't see her for like 2.5 years,
Oh,
and
wow.
she's 76. So, and I lost my dad when I was 8. So um, I know that there's not much time left. And if I only go see her once a year and she lives 15 more years, I get 15 more visits with her versus her living next door and you seeing her, 5 times a week or something. So it's really important to me that I'm able to have time off. And so I don't, 40 hours is what I want to work. So if I can do my own stuff for 40 hours a week, I would be dead happy. And really just having fun with it. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to make a ton of money. I just need to make enough and be happy with what I'm doing.
Girl, cheers to you for like your clarity and your balance. And like, there are people significantly older than you who are who are still trying to figure out this balance that you have seemed to have achieved and found, and the
Mm-hmm.
perspective that you have is it's really cool to see, especially at your age.
Yeah, guys think it's like a flex to work 80-hour weeks. And I'm like, why though? Like, that doesn't seem that fun.
No, I feel like that's a thing within the trades. I've been talking about folks with about this a lot recently. Like this, we're generally afforded so little time off.
Yep.
And then even when we have the time off in the trades, we typically don't take it because there's
Right.
this kind of stigma around taking time off, or like there's
Yeah.
a badge of honor in working ridiculous hours. And it's so not healthy. It is so not
Right.
healthy.
Yeah, like my dog's 5. I want to spend all the time with her I can. I don't want to work 80 to 90 hours a week and come home and like my dog's like, "Oh, welcome home."
Do you have a dog and a cat?
I have 3 cats and a dog. Yeah,
You've got your hands full there. You've got a whole
I
little
do.
zoo.
I do. Yeah. They don't talk back though. It's nice.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You think you'll wind up back in Maine ever?
I don't, maybe, but I don't. It's nice to have somewhere to go back to, but after not being there for 2.5 years, I went back and nothing changed. Like the
Yeah,
buildings are all the same. There's no new restaurants, no new businesses.
right.
Nobody's any happier than they were, And I don't know, I like Michigan.
All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So we don't have a ton of time left, and I feel like you probably have a lot to say in this arena. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into what I like to end my interviews with is if you had advice for the younger you, if you had the opportunity to talk to you as a little girl, or another little girl out there like you, maybe in the same situation that you found yourself in before you found welding and um, totally turned your life around and made it a magical, amazing place. What is your advice?
Focus on yourself. Don't put all of you into somebody else that can that can control you or direct your life, direct your own life. Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
perfect, and far too few of us do that.
Yeah.
So
Short and sweet. Direct
yeah,
yourself.
nothing else needed. That is
Yeah.
fantastic. I'm I'm so glad that you found in you whatever it was that you dug deep and found to be where you're at now, because it 100% like shows on your face that you have found the exact right thing. And I hope the stars continue to align for you as they have, and that you continue to force them to align because you
Yeah.
have that
Whatever it
energy.
takes, man.
Yeah, very cool. Thank you so very much for joining me. I am really excited to continue to watch your journey and see how things unfold. And I want to see those gates. I need a gate
Yes.
soon, so maybe,
Okay.
we can collab on something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe I can be your first customer.
I'm okay. That's cool. That'd be great.
Gotta come out to
Thank you
Phoenix
for
though.
Thank you for inviting me on your show.
Absolutely. It was an honor to have you on here. It was an honor to meet you. I'm stoked to continue following your journey. Everybody who is watching, thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with us for this hour and getting to know Becca or Bex. And make sure you give her a follow, check out her page, see what kind of work she's up to, and follow along on her journey. And of course, as always, this one and all past episodes will live on my IGTV tab, and come back next week to catch another episode and to meet another incredible woman in the trades. And for now, I'm going to bid you guys a good night. Be good to yourselves, be good to one another, and we will see you next week. And Bex, thank you so much. Have a
Thank
fantastic
you.
evening. Good luck to you with
Bye.
everything. Bye.
Thanks.